How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? Thank you, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I don't know if you noticed, this is not really Luciano Pavarotti. I have an accent, but it's not the same. So far, you're looking at me like you're waiting for a comedian to show up. This is it. This is it, and I'm not going to get excited about this because I know everybody can't believe it. The Royal Opera House, it's fantastic if you're an opera singer. To me, it's not. I don't know why should I get excited. I saw furniture before. This is a higher ceiling than I usually see, and it has a historical significance, and I know what opera means to people, and I know that I shouldn't make it any derisive comments or comedy of it, because this is a historical institution, and it's one of the most beautiful things in all of London or anywhere in the world. And this doesn't require any comedians to make fun of it. This is disgusting for anybody to start making jokes about a stunning, unbelievable theater like this. But let me tell you what I think of this place. Oh, here's a schmuck with a camera. I can't believe it. You got no place else to travel around. This is it. I know the railroad system is not so hot, but it's this. I don't want to make fun of the railroad system because I'm told that they change the railroad system every week. Now it's owned by 300 Jews, 4 Italians, 9 Gentiles. Everybody owns the railroad system. This guy's in charge of the toilet, this guy in the bathroom. There's 55 companies, and every time you sit down, nothing works. But I don't want to make fun because I don't belong in this country. I don't know if you heard about it. I'm here as your guest, so I think any comedy comments shouldn't come about this country. I shouldn't make fun of your prime minister either, which means there's nothing here to talk about. I want to be the only one who shows some respect to your prime minister, and I'm going to be the only guy today that's not going to call him a liar, a fake, a fraud, a phony. As far as I'm concerned, he's an honest man, and I thought Clinton was honest. I think they're all honest. The whole... Wait. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to this guy. No, this is no subject. This is no subject for comedy. You're paid for it. How come you haven't got a microphone? I hear you perfectly. Who is that guy with the big mouth? Come here, maybe you'll do the show. I'd like to work. We need a guy with a big mouth. They spent... How come I could hear you from there? He must be Jewish. This guy needs attention desperately. If a guy can't hear you, he keeps his mouth shut. And that's it. He goes home and says, I couldn't hear him. A Jew right away, hello, you son of a bitch. This is not the end. After the show, he's going to sue me. This guy is definitely... No, this is no joke. This is no joke. It's tasteless to do a show and leave some people out who paid for a ticket. Did you pay for a ticket, mister? And if they can't hear me, could you hear me now? Could you all hear me? Could you or could you not? You can't? If you can't hear me, answer this question. If you can't hear me, how do you know what I'm asking? You know something, I arranged this in advance. Because I know very often this tchotchkes that you put on your body sometimes work, sometimes they don't. And it's totally unpredictable. So I said to them, in case it stinks, please make sure you have a microphone ready for me. Out of respect to anybody who paid for a ticket and can't hear me, there's no excuse. You're still busy with the same picture? Did I change that much since the last time you were... I could have sworn I'm the same Jew you saw before. Where is he from? Anybody knows? This is a way to get into a show for nothing. You walk in with a camera and you straight away. It probably doesn't work here. There's not even a camera. He's going for a walk. Could you hear? Is everything okay now? Could you hear me now? That guy with the big mouth, that's the only one I'm worried about. Could you hear me, mister? God bless you. We settled the whole problem, right? Thank God. Now let's see if I can remember my jokes. I forgot what I do for a living already. I came to settle a fight here. Ribono shel olam, Ribono shel olam. I wanted you to think that this is exactly an opera, but it's close. You're not going to tell me they got voices and I don't, and you went and you wasted your time, you thought you'd hear music. Listen to this. This is going to be the most beautiful music you ever heard. Not to the Jews. When Jews hear this, too Jewish. Gentiles love it. They say, ooh, it's spiritual, it's spiritual. Ribono shel olam, atotzi v'sonu. Ribono shel olam, atotzi v'sonu, al yedei Moshe avdecho, Ribono shel olam. Everybody. Gentiles only. Well, it's enough for that. I proved my point. Is anybody sleeping yet? This was an opera, you'd be sleeping by now. You should have thanked God I showed up. Everybody tells you they love an opera, they're all full of shit. I'm not making fun of the opera. The opera is the most beautiful historical art form in the world, and everybody really appreciates an opera. You should be genuinely respected. But let's be honest about it. Do most people go to an opera really know what the hell they're singing? Do they come to an opera because they love an opera? I'm going to stay here till we figure this out. How come I never saw people sleeping at a football game, a basketball game? You ever see them sleeping? What do you see at an opera? Every opera is the same story. Every one of them. 2 Gentiles are screaming and 3,000 Jews, schluft. Schluft. It's a bedroom for rich Jews, that's all it is. I'm not making fun of the opera. God bless the people who are making the opera. I'm talking about the audience. The audience is always full of shit. They only go to an opera so they can come back from the opera. They only go to the opera so they come back and tell you, oh, you know where I was? Went to the opera, and they go from house to house. Hello, did you see? Did you know that I went to the opera? I went to the opera. Hello, they bang on doors. They don't have to know you. Hello, the opera. Ask him, you saw the opera? What was it about? It was about 3 hours. It was about 3 hours. The truth of the matter is most people don't know what's going on at an opera. They don't. The kids who went to school who are studying music are in the 5th balcony. They appreciate it. But the people in the front who spend $300 for a ticket, sitzt da so im Schluft. If people were honest, they would take out the chairs, put in beds. People came to sleep and that's it. People were honest, they wouldn't even come with suits to an opera. They'd come with pajamas, you came to sleep and that's it. I'm surprised they have lights on the stage. Put the lights out. People are sleeping and that's it. They're all sleeping. Every opera is the same story. 2 Gentiles are screaming and 3,000 Jews schluft. I don't blame them for sleeping. I don't even blame them for sleeping because every opera is the same story. It's the same story in every opera. People don't like to hear it. It's supposed to be a great art form. But in every opera, the same thing happens. Sooner or later, he stabs her in the heart and she starts singing and singing and singing. And the more he stabs her, the better she sings. He stabbed me in the heart. All over the world, you stab a person, they pass away. Not in an opera. Stab me in the heart he stabbed me. Then he sings too, I stabbed her. Then the whole chorus joins, he stabbed her. This is the whole story of every opera. And I'm not making fun of the opera. Well, the truth is that I'm making fun of the people who are phony bastards who go to the opera and keep trying to impress themselves that they enjoy it if they don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know. Most people just don't know what's going on. It's the same thing with a ballet. Who goes to the ballet? Now, this is not criticism of the ballet. The most delicate, most beautiful art form in the world is the ballet. It requires such dedication and such perfection. It's such a fine art. There's nothing as more... What's Tutzada? There's nothing more brilliantly defined art in the world than the ballet. And nothing requires such intense dedication. Is there anything more beautiful than a ballet? But does anybody know what's going on there? They don't know what's going on. They know a girl is toiling and they don't know why. Nobody knows why. She's toiling and toiling. And all the Jews are wondering, how long is she going to keep toiling? I'm getting nauseous from all the toilet around. They can't figure it out. She throws herself at this guy. He don't want her. She throws herself at another guy. Nobody wants her. Can't she take a hint of and they can never figure out why she's always on her toes. Why is she on her toes? What is it? Can't they find a taller girl? I can't believe it. But the truth of the matter is, we all have to pose as cultured people. Everybody wants to pretend he's cultured, and part of being cultured is to appreciate these things. Society tells you what culture, and then you find out what's culture, and you have a stutzer. Everything is clapping, bang. Feels like bombs are falling. What's going on here? Who? You still can't hear me? You can't hear me back there? Why is it I hear everybody else and nobody can hear me? Before I was bombing out on this side, now there's the same guy that came over here now. This guy, I think, is getting around the building just to persecute my act here. How come always there's only one person that can hear me? Where's all the rest? Do you hear me? Yeah. Would you tell this schmuck that you can hear me? What do you bother me? How come you're the only guy that can't hear me in the whole building? Come here. Sit over there if you can't hear me. Nazi bastards. Son of a bitch. Is he from Palestinian organization? Some Palestinian. Must be a Palestinian organization. That's how they get even with Jewish people. They wait for them to get a job and they holler, "Get in, get in." Hey, somebody hired these Nazi bastards. See, the other guy I really believe couldn't hear me, but this one is a phony bastard. I don't like to pick on people. It's not my nature. Because the truth is, hello? Is this working now? I'll keep in touch with you after every joke. I'll ask you. Who figured this? I never figured I'm going to the most royal opera house in the world. In the shit houses, the microphone works perfectly. I play every kind of a dump, every type of comedy club, every bar mitzvah all my life. I never have trouble. I come here, the Royal Opera House. Everything works at $500 million for furnishing, $8 for a microphone. Nothing. Go figure this. Is this a plot? What's that? It sounds like it plays in one spot, it doesn't in the other. It feels like a bomb detector here. What's that? You know what? I think we should all go someplace else and watch a show. And this guy keeps spazieren, spaziert. Excuse me, mister, can I ask you a question? What are you taking a picture of here? What, you never saw an old Jew before? You're not busy. Could you find out what he's doing? I'm talking to you, mister. Are you a homosexual person? I'm talking. He keeps looking at me. There's a lot of homosexuals here. There's a lot. I like the way they look. My cook says it. There's a lot of fegelach here. Why, you thought you're the only one? You're not the only one. That's not nice to say. You don't even look like a homosexual. You do. I always wonder about that. You ever wonder what makes a man become a homosexual? Let's take your case. I don't like those type of jokes. I say it in the spirit of fun. Don't get nervous. God bless you if you're a homosexual. If you're homosexual, be proud. Be proud. That's right. Get up. Get up. This man wants to talk to you. What did you want to know? You know, you can make jokes like this now. You couldn't make jokes like this years ago, because years ago homosexuals were embarrassed people. Remember that? Who am I talking to? Years ago, fegelach were all in the closet. Remember years ago? They were always in the closet. Today, they were proud people, but years ago, every one of them was in a closet, out of a closet, looking for a closet. You couldn't find a fegel. You couldn't find a fegel without a closet. I thought they were in the furniture business. That's what I thought. That was years ago, but not today. Today, they're the proudest people. You ever see how proud they are? As soon as they get together, a parade starts. A parade. You know, in the United States, in America, they couldn't even get into the army. Did you know that? It keeps coming back. They couldn't get into the army. Do you people hear about this? Are they allowed in the army in this country? In the United States, they're not allowed in the army. They tried to compromise and create a new policy. But to this day, if you're a fegala, you can't get into the army. There's a big problem there. Heterosexuals don't want the homosexual in the army. Does that make sense to you? Well, let's be honest about it. Why is he such a threat to you? If you're secure in your own masculinity, with the fact that he's a fegala disturb you, why should it disturb you? What's the worst thing he might want to do? What? Make love to you? Tell him you're busy. That's right, or do what your wife does. Say you got a headache. I say they should be allowed in the army. I wouldn't bend over backwards over it. That's my opinion. I know it's a big problem, because I hear about this, especially in the government. Every time they think a guy is masculine, he turns out to be another figure, and then they hold it against him. Then they say they believe in democracy. They shouldn't hold it against him, and then they start outing him. They're outing this guy, that guy. Every single day, the guy says, "I'm a perfect." Oh yeah, boy, they found him out too. But the government here is working brilliantly, and I think that one day Blair is going to actually find out why this war started. He's going to find that out. And when he finds that out, he'll be shocked. Because he himself can't figure out what happened there and how it happened. He knows that they had weapons of mass destruction. He just doesn't know if they had it, how they had it, where they got it, and where they put it. But the fact that it's there is no question. Where, we don't know, but we know they got it. And Bush knows they have it too, but he also knows where Blair is. He doesn't know where that is. He's looking for it. He found out from English intelligence that they have it. Then English found out that they got no intelligence. So, they had intelligence, but the report they had came from people who imitated intelligence, who never even knew the intelligence. So they got a report from a kid who was looking at a website. They don't know who he is. They don't know what this is. But we do know that the war was necessary. Why? We don't know. It could be... And every day we have a different reason why we should have had this war. First, it was because they have weapons of mass destruction. Then we found out even if they don't, he was killing people every day, and that's a good enough reason. Saddam Hussein, and now we're looking for Saddam Hussein. We know we found him, and we know that he's dead. We don't know for sure if he's dead. He might be alive. He might be slightly dead, but if he's not dead, he should be dead, because he must have been injured, they say. He's so injured now that he's better off dead. He wishes he was. Before the war started, we definitely knew that we killed him. We bombed that building, that mansion, before the war started, and we said we got him, and he's definitely dead, and that's it. The next day, he was going for a walk. And everybody says he's going for a walk. Doesn't mean he's not exactly dead. He might be slightly dead. Maybe he was about to pass away, and this was his last walk the other way. Then they found out that he might be alive, but he's very seriously injured, and we're not even worried about him because he's close enough to dead not to worry about it. Then 3 weeks later, they said he's not exactly dead because he went for another walk. But we bombed another building. Remember that? We bombed a second mansion with the children in it. We got him and his sons, and they're all dead. The next day, how do you like that? There he is again. But this time they said they thought he was alive, but not very alive, because a new picture came out where he's talking on this picture, but we don't know. Then they became scientists to figure out, is this an old picture with a new voice, or this an old voice with a new picture? And they started to study it carefully. The right side looks like him, but this side, I don't think so. But the hat is his, but the mouth is somebody else. Then they said the mustache looks like his, but not this side. The other side, but the foot looks definitely his. The right foot, this foot, definitely. And now they know that they definitely think that he is someplace, they don't know where. But wherever he is, that's where he is. It's like looking for bin Laden. They're looking for bin Laden, and every week we get closer and closer to finding bin Laden. Do you notice how we're getting closer? Every week you hear that. Now we are getting so much closer. We were never as close as we are now. This is the closest we ever came. Except for the fact that we don't know where the fuck he is. But certain things we found out that are definite. He's either in Afghanistan or he left Afghanistan. This we know. This we know, and we found out that he took a train. Might be a plane, maybe a horse, we don't know. But he took something and he went somewhere, and wherever he is, that's where we're going to get him. But we do know that he lost weight. Unless he gained weight, he either gained weight or he lost weight. But they found out later that he was sick. We don't know how sick, but we do know that he can walk. Maybe he could walk, but he can't dance. He can dance. Did you hear the latest information? I'm not making this up. The latest information is they found out that right now he's in Philadelphia disguised as a rabbi. He's a rabbi in Philadelphia, and one thing we know for sure, that he's in disguise. Wherever he's in disguise, we don't know. The latest disguise is he might be disguised as a woman. So if you see a tall woman with a beard, that's him. That's exactly how it works. You understand this, or you're still taking a picture? I don't want to make fun of this. This is no subject for comedy. Hello, is this the Jewish section in the front? You're looking at me like the Jewish section because they're studying, they cooked everything. Gentiles think I'm funny, they laugh. Jews don't laugh at first. They're looking, they're thinking and thinking. Is this an old story? Did I hear this before? Am I paying so much money for this bullshit? The Jews are wondering, should the white sit there? Should I get out? Should I sue? Should I get even with him? Jews are evaluating and schwitzing and looking and goyim have a time. Ha ha ha, melach. It's easier to entertain Gentiles. Let's be honest, they're the easiest people to entertain. They never saw a show before, so no matter what they see, it's better than nothing. Jews go from one show to the other. They see every show. There is not one show a Jew doesn't see. This one I'm seeing Thursday. This is Monday. I got tickets for Friday. I got almost tickets. I'm buying tickets. I'm buying tickets and tickets and tickets. They're flying around with tickets. We are going, oops, I got a show. And then they love to tell you how the show stunk. The greatest privilege, the greatest pleasure a Jew has is to tell you which show stunk. Anybody could like a show. That doesn't make you an expert. You're a real expert if you know which show stunk. They can't wait to tell you. You know how that did he stink, guy? When they could tell you who stunk, boy, did he stink. You think he stunk? I saw a show that really stunk. You walked out. I didn't even go in. I didn't even go. Gentiles enjoy anything. They even enjoy Niagara Falls. You know that in the United States, you people know that in the United States, the biggest attraction in the country is Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls. They come from trains and buses and planes from all over America to look at it. Water. Niagara Falls is water. That's it. Water is falling down. They can't get over it. They can't. They cook from all over the world. They'll cook. They give a cook for stutz over. And they run. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. And they have guides that explain it to them. They explain it to them. This is the water. No kidding. They cook. And they consult with each other. Look how high it is. Look how high. I tell them, walk in the street when it's raining, it's even higher. They even enjoy the Grand Canyon. Do you people ever hear of the Grand Canyon? In Las Vegas, one of the biggest attractions is the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is a hole. That's it. There's nothing there. That's why they call it a canyon. It's a hole and there's nothing to see. And goyim come from all over the world to look at this hole. They look at this hole. You know why it's called a hole? There's nothing to see. And they cook. They're waiting. It's not changing. It's not moving. It's not tidy. It's a fucking hole. That's it. And they keep looking and looking and looking. And they get excited. Hurry up. Take a look. The Gentiles are looking and the Jews are wondering, what the fuck are they looking at? The Jews see a hole. They figure, hey, we could sue these son of a bitches. We could make a fortune. Lincoln's house is another big attraction in America. One of the biggest attractions is Lincoln's house. I revere the memory of Abraham Lincoln as much as anybody else, but he's not there. He's not coming back. He's not in the neighborhood. He's not looking for the building. It's a broken down shithouse of a building, and they're standing in line for days at a time to go into his house and look at schmatters and direct. There's nothing there. They're looking and looking, and they have guides that explain this to them too. This was the floor. No kidding. And the floor went all the way till the wall. Is that right? And when he reached the wall, he usually went this way. You know why? He couldn't go any further. No kidding. And like this, they spend the whole day. I'm making fun of the Gentiles. You think Jews make more sense? Nobody makes any sense in this world. Everybody does whatever they're told and they follow the leader. And nobody thinks for themselves. It's not only Gentiles. Gentiles follow sights. Jews follow anything else that they're told. Why do you think every Jew you meet wears a tie? Every time you walk in the streets here, you almost never see a Jew without a tie. And I always ask them, why do you wear a tie? Some people think it's disrespectful. I'm standing on the stage in the Royal Opera House without a tie. And you know what I say? I say, you got to be a total schmuck to wear a tie. Is there anything more useless on this earth than a tie? Is there anything that has less of a purpose in life? What the fuck do people wearing a tie for? You ever stop to wonder? If there was no such thing as a tie and somebody said to you, I got a great idea for a business. You take a piece of cloth and you put it around your neck. And then what? Nothing. It'll just hang there and that's it. And everybody will be walking around with a thing hanging from their neck and nobody will ask, why the hell is this hanging from my neck? Who would believe you wouldn't even be able to get into a restaurant unless this is hanging from your neck? Does this make sense to you? But people do it because everybody else does it and it became a status symbol. You're not considered well-dressed unless you're wearing this. You're considered intelligent if you're not wearing it. You're considered sensible. And the other people should be considered schmucks. And I say this with the highest respect. Because I would never insult anybody. Here's another idea, skiing. Is there anything more stupid than anybody who goes skiing? If that didn't exist, let me ask you a question. Stop to think of it. It didn't exist, and somebody said to you, here's a great idea for a business. You take 2 pieces of wood and you put them under your shoes. And then what? Then you fly right off a mountain. Would you think anybody would ask, why would you want to fly off a mountain? For what reason? So you could go back up. Why would you want to go back up? So you could go down again. For what reason? To see if you broke your leg or not. This is it. Does this make sense to you? Who would believe that people would leave beautiful buildings, homes, 300,000, 9 million, 50 billion, ugly kind of home where you, thank God you're comfortable, you're warm, and you're sitting there in the middle of the winter, and then you wait for a snowstorm, then you go out and freeze your ass off flying up and down a mountain, and you say, it's a pleasure, it's a pleasure. This is a pleasure. I can understand why Gentiles think it's a pleasure. Why would a Jew think it's a pleasure? Jews are freezing in their own house. No matter where a Jew goes, he's cold, he's cold. Even today, it's 98 degrees, 32 degrees in your number. And all the Jews I met said, thank God it's comfortable now, thank God. Thank God. The normal person was saying it's schwitzt, it's hot as hell. But to a Jew, thank God it's comfortable. I'm so comfortable. Why? Because you never see such a comfortable day. If you put your head in a furnace, would that be comfortable? Because you never see a day like this, 90 degrees or 32, whatever you call it in your language, this becomes comfortable. You cannot walk 1 block without schwitzing and farting and schwitting, and people are saying you have to put more cream on, put a latte on, put this on. I love it, they're falling apart and they love it. Because a nice day in this town is as rare as an earthquake anyplace else. Nobody ever sees a nice day in London. How often do you see a nice day here? You could live at 30 years and see 2 nice days. Because I notice when the sun comes out, everybody calls each other up. Hello, did you come out? Come out, the sun is shining. They call each other up. Oh, yeah, boy, you're going to miss it. But I'm working. You'll wait Thursday. Come on. The sun is out. They're afraid if they don't take a picture of it, they'll miss it for the rest of their life. It sounds like I'm not making fun of this area. I'm not making fun of it. I love it here. And I thank God that you people invite me here. And I love this country in every respect. I think this is the greatest country probably in the world today. The fact that I say this wherever I go is besides the point. This is a great country. Sometimes you have a problem here. A lot of countries have problems. You have more problems here than most countries. It's like President Bush said, and he said a brilliant thing. I don't think it's easy for Bush to say a brilliant thing. People make fun of him, they all make fun of him, not so smart. He happens to be a brilliant man. Nobody knows how brilliant he is, and he can't explain it to you. You know why people say he's not too brilliant? Because he can't talk, that's what you keep hearing, he can't talk. What has talking got to do with it? So happens to be, here's another true story. Do you know that he's a great speaker? People don't even know that. He happens to be a great speaker. English is not his field. He's a great talker, it's just that nothing comes out. Every time you see him, he's wound up, he's about to talk, he almost has a sentence ready. I always give up. Starts again. He's always good for about a half a sentence. I feel the Al-Qaeda must. We cannot allow them to. There's two sentences he knows by heart. Every time you see Bush, you hear the same two sentences. Spoke about, in the United States, you hear him say this at least 4 times a day. No matter ask, I don't care what you ask him, what time is it? We'll smoke him out and we'll bring him to him. We'll smoke him out and we'll bring him to him. He's just the opposite of your prime minister. Your prime minister is a brilliant orator. He's a man, he may not make sense and he may not be telling the truth, but you can never tell. Because he's such an elegant talker that you think he's telling the truth even when he's making it up. Because he doesn't look like he's just the president of one country. He looks like he should be ruling the world. Bush, it looks like he can't believe he got the job. You see Bush in the White House, I've cooked, I say, how the hell did I wind up here? I like to watch Bush when he lands at the airport. When your prime minister lands at an airport, he knows how to look. He's a perfect actor. When Bush lands at an airport, he still can't figure out what to do with himself. Oh, I'm here. It's not for him. When he reads from a paper, he's not a bad speaker. But he can't get past more than 2 words without getting back to the paper. We must continue to. There are those who will say, why should we? And everybody says, that makes sense to me. In this country, everybody loves Clinton. In the United States, I think they like him there too, but not as much as here. Here, people are crazy about him. If he shot somebody right in the heart, everybody at this building would say the same thing. Who lives forever? See, Bush can't talk, so they can't stand him. But Clinton was a great speaker, so they don't care if he's a total degenerate. All they know is he talks better than anybody. So if he talks, let him lie. The worst liar of all time was Clinton. Clinton was disbarred from practicing law. Do you people know that? He cannot practice law in the United States. He is too big a liar to be a lawyer. For the lowest job in the world, too low. For the highest job, perfect. People in the United States don't care what he does. They don't care in this country either. He even raped one girl. You know what everybody says? So what? It's one girl. Look how many girls he didn't rape. Nobody cares. You people know here that on the way out of the White House, he robbed everything, the chairs, the tables, the floors, the toilets. He even robbed the staircase. Do you know that? You have to go up and down with a rope now. You know what everybody says? So what? He didn't mean it. He denied that too. First he said he never took anything. They said, you did. He said, I did not. They said, we have proof. He said, oh, you have proof? Then I'll give it back. Then he changed the whole story around. He said he never meant to take it. He forgot to leave it. And people, not that I'm saying he was a bad president. He might have been a great president, but nobody knows if he was or not because he never did anything. He had never had time for the presidency. He never got involved in politics. That wasn't his business. He was busy looking for broads. Hello, are you busy? This was his whole life. Every time you saw him, he was in shorts and he was running and running. People think he was doing exercise. What exercise? He was going from house to house. This man was always in shorts. You know why? Had no time to put his pants on. To this day, everybody says Clinton was an expert in foreign policy. You know why he was an expert? Because every time they said to him, we're having trouble abroad. He said, abroad? Let's go. Did you read about Monica Lewinsky and the story? Hillary Clinton just wrote a book about his exploits with Monica Lewinsky, and she condemned him as a filthy person, and she says she never knew her own husband was that kind of a person to do things like this. She was shocked when she found out what he did. She said she was choking, she was gagging. Monica Lewinsky was gagging, she wasn't. Forget that joke. She said she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it. Where was she, in a coma? She was the 14th girl he had that night. Everybody in America was reading about nothing but oral sex, plain sex, regular sex. It was a whole sex life. That's all people were reading about. For 8 years. And she says, how do you like that? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did you ever buy a paper? How do you think she wrote the book? The book has nothing but a sex life in it. She accumulated 8 years of newspapers. That's what she did. She brought it to a publisher. I want to call this a book. She got $8 million for 500 tons of paper. That's exactly what happened. Do people never read about this with Clinton? Hello? You're not allowed to read a paper in this neighborhood? Bush is an honest man. That's why I like President Bush, one of the most honest people that ever lived. He's doing a phenomenal job. And if he finds out he's the president, he's going to kill himself. Do you understand this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is too good a show to go straight through. We have to have an intermission because the Jews have to go out and have something to eat. That's more important than anything. By now, every Jew is a little hungry. I can bet my life. Jews can't sit watching a show for more than 15 minutes without feeling a little hungry. I guarantee you, half of the Jews are saying, I'm a little hungry. How long is this going to take already? How long is this going to take? They all say the same thing. I don't need a lot. I need something to tide me over. As long as you could tide me over. Well, they all say the same thing. What did I eat today? A piece of chicken? It was a whole chicken. Yeah, but it came in one piece. Everybody I know that they can't stop eating tells you the same thing. They don't want to eat. They don't mean to eat. No Jew ever wanted to eat. It was on the table, so I had it. You think I wanted it? It was in my mouth already, so I swallowed it. Who wanted it? They keep putting meat on the table, so I take it. Who needs it? I never wanted it. And it's never their fault. You find a person, no matter how fat he is, it could be 700 pounds. It's never the food. Nobody ever gained weight from food. It's my metabolism. It's my metabolism. Everybody will tell you, what? I don't eat. Ask my wife. Do I ever eat? Tell the truth. Doesn't. He never eats. I told you, I don't eat. It's my metabolism. They don't know what metabolism is. Nobody knows what it is, where it is. It's wherever it is. It blows you up, and it's all the metabolism. I have a very slow metabolism, as if they're walking around with a watch, timing their metabolism. It's a very slow, they don't even know what it is. Where's your metabolism? It's wherever it is, it blows you up, and that's it. The rest have a thyroid problem. It's my thyroid. That's what it is. It's my thyroid. Where's your thyroid? We're right next to the metabolism. It's the thyroid, the metabolism, and the cheesecake. These are the things that do. Nobody admits they get fat from eating. There's no such person who ever lives. Do you ever notice what happens at a dinner table when it's time for dessert? Everybody tells you they don't want dessert. They're all educated in the idea that fat is unhealthy and desserts are unhealthy. So a lot of people will say to a head waiter right away, I'm sorry, no desserts, no desserts. And then they give you a whole list of physical problems, of medical problems. I have low blood, I have high sugar, I can't, no desserts. This whole arm will fall right off. No, I can't. How about your wife? No, her neck will go right here. No desserts. Then he tells them, the boss just told me to tell you that all the desserts are on the house. No kidding. Bring out whatever you got, son of a bitches. People can't stop eating, and that's the truth. Especially I like to watch people on cruises. Cruises is the funniest thing in the world, to watch Jews on cruises. When Gentiles are on cruises, they can't wait to see different islands, every cockamamie island all over the world. When Jews are on cruises, they give you a list of islands they're going to see. I'll see Mallorca, I'll see Cockamamie, I'll see Heidrickever, I'll see Jean Dreux, I'll see Bredreux. Then they spend their whole time on the boat wondering, what time is the food coming out? We're here 12 minutes already. Nothing came out yet. Son of a bitches. How long are we going to stand here like this? The Gentiles are running, playing basketball, volleyball, handball. They're running back and forth. And the Jews are saying, you see a piece of cake here? As soon as the boat docks, the Gentiles run to see the island, the shmatas, the museums, the chachkas, and all the Jews are saying, shh, don't go anyplace. The Viennese table is coming out any minute. The main thing to a Jew is a buffet. When the buffet comes out, he can't even recognize that they're Jewish. Who rides on these boats? Mostly elderly people, God bless them, I'm not making fun of them, but they're all mishlepza chazeh. And as soon as the buffet comes out, they all become basketball players. Get! Let's go. Grab this, come here. Come here, what are you sitting like a schmuck? Come here, grab this, they're grabbing whatever they can. But look at them, did you see the meat here? Grab this, there's 12 steaks. I thought you don't eat meat. Yeah, but once in a while. Take a look at all those cakes. I thought you don't eat cakes. So what? You're on a boat now, you can't gain weight in the middle of an ocean. Forget about it. The truth is that Jews never get off a boat. We ever had a cruise? Jews never get off a boat. The only time they get off a boat, you know when? Is when they find out there's liquor, duty free. Duty free, oh yeah, bruch, my life doesn't. It cost them $30,000 for a boat ride. When they find out you could save $11 on 8 bottles of liquor. My life doesn't. Let's grab the liquor be flit doesn't. They buy 300 bottles of liquor, they keep forgetting that they don't drink. They take the liquor home, it lays in their closets for the next 40 years. You want to drink? No, thank God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're definitely going to have an intermission now. This is the same intermission we almost had before. Thank God I didn't hear from anybody. I didn't hear any complaints for the last 3 minutes. I thought something was going to explode here the next minute, but thank God it's under control now. Whoever it is that's doing the bombing here, thank God, he must be bombing someplace else now. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you a chance to go into the lobbies and discuss the show. Jews have to discuss the show. That's more important than the whole show, is to express their opinion. Gentiles will go out for a drink, and Jews will say, let's grab a little something and discuss. They'll start getting together. What do you think of this man? Not for me. You think you'll go back in? Why not? It's a place to sit. Where are you going to go? Jews have to go out to discuss. They have to discuss. You know what they mean? The Gentiles will be discussing the show, not the Jews. Every Jew will be asking the same question. How much do you think he gets for a show like that? He must be making a fortune. What's his overhead? There's no overhead. Puts on a jacket and makes a living, son of a bitch. And he doesn't even take in a partner. He works alone. It takes a schmuck like you to take in a partner. You don't need a partner. Take a look. You stand there and you make money, son of a bitch. Then every Jew will become an accountant. How many seats would you say there are? Then they all say the same thing. Let's take a low figure. We'll take a low figure. That's also not going to be the main question. You know what the main question is going to be? How old do you think he is? Jews have to know exactly how old you are, because if nobody wants to get old, especially if you're Jewish. Gentiles admit it. When they get old, when a Jew gets old, he starts looking like a dancer. Oh, hello, darling. He could have one hair, they move it over this way and this way. Nice to see you, sweetheart. This is where every Jew becomes sexy. I don't want to sound like I'm making fun of Jews. I shouldn't make fun of Gentiles. I don't want to sound like I'm categorizing people, because that's not my nature. I don't like generalities. Everybody tells you people are all the same. It's stupid to generalize about people. You know who says it? Idiots. Because people do behave differently. Do Jews and Gentiles behave the same way? Do Japanese people and Jewish people behave the same way? You ever see a Japanese woman with a headache? You never saw that. You ever see a Jewish woman without a headache? You never saw that either. Every Jewish woman has a headache. It's either coming or going. It started on this side, it moved over. I feel it right here. I used to feel it up here, but now it moved over here. Every Jewish woman has a headache, and every Jewish man is sick. If he's not very sick, he's slightly sick, he's a little sick. Did you ever see a completely healthy Jew in your life? You never saw it. Every Jew has something pulling, schlepping, clapping, hacking, banging. But you could be 12 years old. There's something pulling right here. Am I making this up? If I'm making this up, could you tell me why every time you talk to a Jew, he's going to a doctor. He's coming from a doctor. He's looking for a doctor. Every Gentile is going for a beer, and every Jew is going to a doctor. Ask him, why are you going to a doctor? Are you sick? Not right now, but I'm not going to wait till the last minute. How come no Gentile is ever sick? It's against their image of the masculinity to ever admit that they're sick. They have a masculinity idea of themselves. Admitting that they're sick is not masculine to them. That's why they can never admit they're sick. If a Gentile crashes into a wall, he's bleeding to death. How do you feel? Great. A Jew comes out of a limousine, I'm tired. That's why I say we shouldn't generalize about people. See, let's be honest about it. Jews are much more obsessed with their looks and their health than Gentiles are by nature. It's a simple fact that Jews are much more obsessed with it. Let's be honest about it. You ever see a Gentile going to a doctor? They never go to a doctor unless, God forbid, they're very desperately sick. They go to a doctor and they memorize every word he said because it's holy to them. When a Jew goes to a doctor, they all come back saying the same thing. The man is full of shit. Who's going to listen to him? He's not even the head of the hospital. Who's going to listen? That's why we should stop categorizing people. This is going to be an intermission now. I notice you people got no place to go anyway. You're afraid to go into the street. It's very hot. It's air conditioned here. This is probably the only air conditioned building in the country. So you're saying to yourself, they all tell me the same thing. We don't need air conditioning. It's never warm here. Schwitz does it. God bless you. Thank you for showing up. And if you have no place to go, I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello. It's certainly a pleasure to see me back because I have no place to go either. So, what do you want to do now? Look. Oh, it's clapped again already. There is this whole thing feels like a conspiracy by some organization to destroy my career. Every minute something is clapping from one direction or another. Now, I'd like to assign somebody to the job. You people busy? You got no place to go. Could you figure out what's going on here backstage? Why they would hire a Jew to come all the way from the United States, sit him on the stage in the classiest, most magnificent building in the world, then spend the whole night destroying everything so that he shouldn't be able to tell a joke. You understand it? I know you don't care because you're wondering what time you could get out again to eat something. Any of you eat in between? Let's be honest, you ate? The older people probably ate it. Not the younger people. The younger people could wait. They had sushi. I don't want to pick on them, but I think you got to be some schmuck to eat sushi. What is sushi? It's raw fish. Anybody ever eat raw fish before it became sushi? Let's be honest, if somebody said to you, here's a piece of fish, I forgot to cook it. You think you would eat it, but it's trendy. As soon as you want to feel like a trendy person, you have to go for sushi. They even change their body language. When they're eating fish, but if they're going for sushi, oh, we're going for sushi. You'd like to go for sushi? We're having sushi. Are you having sushi? Makes them trendy. We're having sushi. It makes you a putz. That's what it makes you. Because it's a menace to your health and your very life. It was condemned by the FDA in the United States. It was condemned in the New York Times as a very raw fish happens to be dangerous. It has the highest contamination level of anything you could possibly eat. That's right. Raw fish has killed more Jews than the Nazis. But people think it's trendy. It was created by the Japanese. That's another lie. It was created by two Jews. Two Jews were sitting around and they were wondering, how could we open a restaurant without a kitchen? That's exactly how it happened. It makes as much sense as the people who eat Cajun. That's another thing that makes them feel trendy. As soon as they eat Cajun, boiled fish became also trendy. Well, let's be honest. What is Cajun? It's boiled fish. Did you eat boiled fish before it was called Cajun? Cajun's not as big here maybe as it is in America. But in America, sushi and Cajun is like a set. You're going for Cajun, we're going for sushi, sushi and Cajun. They both walk around nauseous and they're happy. Because they're having Cajun. Cajun is boiled fish. Did you eat boiled fish before? Somebody said to you, here's a boiled piece of fish. You want it? I always ask people this question. How come nobody in the world eats a boiled bagel? Because it's not called Cajun. That's the only reason. Somebody would say to you, you want a boiled bagel? You would say, what kind of a schmuck gives you a boiled bagel? But it's a Cajun. Oh. You could burn a guy's whole house down. Tell him it's a Cajun fire. He'll say, oh yeah, blah. I'll tell you a true story. My mother couldn't cook. She couldn't cook. All her life she made Cajun food. I never knew it. Thank God, it's about time you applauded something. I'm schwitzing here for an hour. Here's another example. You know, every year different fish becomes trendy. The trendy fish now, I don't know if it's true in this country, but in America the trendy fish now is ahi tuna and Chilean sea bass. Do they have that here too? Every place you go in the United States, as soon as you see a guy with a tuxedo, Chilean sea bass, ahi tuna, it's like a set. Ahi tuna, Chilean sea bass. And everybody says, yeah, I'll have ahi tuna. What the hell is ahi tuna? This is a mixed up piece of fish altogether. It's half burnt, half raw. This guy didn't know if he was making Cajun or sushi. This was a mixed up pots of a place. And if your wife cooked a piece of fish like that, you would say, what kind of a drekiente is cooking fish like that? But over here it's seared. If it was cooked, drek. Seared makes it fancy. It's seared ahi tuna. Nobody knows what the hell it is. What is seared? Nobody knows. But they love to hear it. You're having seared, we're having seared ahi tuna. Plain fish, $4. Seared, $48.50. Why do you think they call it ahi tuna? They mean, here comes the schmuck who's going to pay for it. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you make anything into a status symbol, people buy it. Doesn't have to make sense. Hello? Does it have to make sense? Why do people go any place for a status symbol? They'll even sit in a Lamborghini. Is there anything on this earth more uncomfortable than a Lamborghini? You know, this is very interesting. When you buy a car for $10,000, it's better than a car for $4,000. If you buy a car for $20,000, it's more comfortable than a car for $10,000. Up to about $30,000, the cars get progressively more and more comfortable. After you pay about $30,000 for a car, all the way up to $300,000, it gets smaller and smaller and worse and worse. And by the time you pay $500,000 for a Lamborghini, you can't even sit in it. It's the only car in the world without a seat. There's no seat. You sit there for 10 minutes, you'll be crippled for the rest of your life. That's right. Did you ever see that car? It was built by a Jewish chiropractor to wipe out people. This is the biggest fraud in the world. But if a guy is in a Chevrolet, he envies you if you got a Lamborghini. Do you ever see people in a Chevrolet looking at somebody and, oh, you bought a Lamborghini? They envy you. Look at the Lamborghini. They can't get over it. Meanwhile, the guy in the Chevrolet is sitting like a king in a comfortable car. And the guy in the Lamborghini sits there. And they're always waving to him, hello, Lamborghini! And he can't wave back. Here's a very good question. Why do people fly first class? So far, you didn't know one thing that I asked. People fly first class for only one reason, because it has a wider seat. So it's worth 4 times as much money to have a wider seat. If it's true in a plane, why is it true in a car? Why is it exactly reverse in a car? You pay 50 times as much to have no seat at all. Because the seat has nothing to do with it. That's the lie they tell themselves. The truth is, they don't care about the seat. They care about the status symbol of flying first class. They love the idea of being able to say, I flew first class. You ever see a guy, a rich man in coach? If a coach seat was 10 times more comfortable, let's assume the first class section was totally packed and the coach section was totally empty. And you could get 37 seats for $11. And you could lay around there like a dead horse, go for a walk, play basketball, park a car, do whatever you want there. Would a rich man go in there? Never. Never, because they want to be seen going into for you. If you catch a rich man and coach, they have a whole speech prepared. This is not my regular team. I wasn't even flying. Somebody pushed me in here. The truth is, they'll never go with coach because they want to hear the announcement. First class passengers only. Emigrate does first class. You know what you get for your money? I'll tell you what you get for your money. You get a chance to sit there like an idiot for an hour and a half waiting for everybody from coach to come on the plane. You're sitting there schwitzing and schwitzing. Meanwhile, everybody from coach is at the airport singing, dancing, enjoying. And you're sitting there schwitzing and schwitzing. You ever see what happens? You ever see what happens when the coach people finally come on the plane? They usually have to pass the first class section. Did you ever see how they look at you? When they're passing the first gate, there's a son of a bitch. Then they start hitting you with the luggage. Here, you son of a bitch. Take my word, you're 10 times better off in coach. Especially if you're Jewish. If you're a Gentile, you might not be better off because Gentiles think you have to sit on the seat that they were assigned. Gentiles are all sitting at the assigned seats and the Jews are busy. Let me see. Come here, look what I found here. Come here. And the stewardesses are always chasing the Jews. Could you please sit down? Sit down, please, sit down. I'll sit down. As soon as she turns around, grab this seat. But there's somebody there. So what? They could sit here, we sit there, they sit there. And every Jew is mad. What happened to my upgrade? I was supposed to have an upgrade. Son of a bitches. Then when the plane starts out, they all walk around asking everybody, how much are you paid? People don't even want to realize it, that their whole life is involved with status symbols and has nothing whatsoever. Almost everything you do when you want to feel successful in this country and any country, almost everything you do has nothing to do with reality, with practicality. It has nothing to do with anything real. It's nothing but just to make an impression. And you don't care how you suffer to make an impression. You don't even know you're suffering. You don't even know you're wasting money for nothing because you want to feel important. And if you want to feel rich, everything becomes worth it. People even buy a Picasso painting. As soon as you meet a rich man, what is he going to tell you? You should see my Picasso. My Picasso, if you see my Picasso, he made a lot of paintings, not like this. This was his biggest painting. He did this when it was the height of his career before he walked slow, but when he was still painting better. After that, all his paintings stunk, but this painting was such a painting. And you sort of just say, hello, wait, let me show you, this is my Picasso. And they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. Nobody knows what they're looking at. How many people know what they're looking at when they see a Picasso? You don't want to feel like a schmuck. So you say, what an interesting painting. What an interesting. They're looking at each other. What a painting. You don't know what the fuck it is. Let's be honest. If your nephew painted a picture like that, you'd put him in a sanitarium. Let's be honest about it. If you saw a painting, here's a knife, here's a horse, here's a watermelon, here's a foot dragging a tooth hanging, this is clapping, this is hacking, you know what you would say? This is a serial killer. But when they tell you it's a Picasso, oh yeah, take a look for Stutzer. I got a brother-in-law who has a Picasso painting in his house. It's hanging upside down for 9 years. He don't know about it. Everybody wants to feel cultured. That's why they go to see these things. That's why they go to see a Shakespearean play. Shakespeare, let's be honest, the greatest genius of literature. And when every time you see a Shakespearean play, you see the same identical thing that you see at the opera and you see in the ballet. There they are, sleeping again. And people can't wait to tell you, I saw Shakespeare. They don't know what the hell he was talking about. I'm a schlaftaze for 2 hours. I came from the play. What did you see? I don't know. See, I want me to tell you the truth. I'm the only honest person. I admit that I don't like Shakespeare. I don't like anything he wrote. I don't go around telling everybody what a genius he was. I think the man was full of shit. That's my honest opinion, and that's it. And I don't care if anybody likes to hear it or not. My kingdom for a horse. A couple of broads, I could see it. A horse. Everything he wrote to me was just plain stupid. Stupid. To be or not to be, this is the question. You can't think of a better question than this? To be or not to be what? You don't know what to be? Don't bother Jewish people, and that's it. Find out what you want to be, then write it down. What are you writing a book before you know what to be? First on what you want to be, then you write a book. Son of a bitches. I tell the truth. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? Is it so hard to say? Where are you? I'm looking for you. Why do you think Romeo never showed up? He didn't want to hang around with a schmuck like this. Everything he wrote was stupid. Lend me your ears. A couple of pair of pants, a shirt, I could see it. Your ears? Who's going to lend your ears? What if you give it back? You'll never hear about it. But everybody tells you he's a genius, so you believe it. You understand this? Everybody used to tell me the French have class and elegance and style. Where did they get their reputation from for being elegant and stylish? And the French have a sophistication. They happen to be the lowest son of a bitches in the world. And I say this with the highest respect. There's nobody lower than the French, and everybody reports to them and looks at them. When you go to Paris, does anybody treat you with more arrogance and obnoxiousness than the French? Isn't this ironic? Isn't this ironic? The English and the Americans saved them in 2 world wars. In 2 world wars. They wouldn't be alive today if not for us. You would think if you came there, they would come out with a piece of cake, a cup of coffee, something. Instead, they look at you with that contemptuous, obnoxious attitude. Son of a bitches. I know what I'm talking about. I was in Paris. I saw all those parasites, and I'm telling you the truth. Son of a bitches. Everybody said we wanted their support for Iraq. Who needed their support for Iraq? They can't fight a war. They never fought a war. Every time a war started, they ran to English or the Americans to save them while they were hiding like thieves, those son of a bitches. They never won a war in their lives. They only won 1 war, the French Revolution. That's because they were fighting each other. I don't want to make an issue out of it. You know what the most ironic thing to me is? Every time they put out something, it becomes a delicacy. The most popular bottled water in the world today happens to be Evian. Do you people know that? That's a fact. The biggest seller by far of all the bottled waters. Now this is unbelievable, because this is another case like with sushi. It was condemned everywhere as it always gets the lowest rating of all the bottled waters in the world. There's no fact I give you in this show that's not true. Every fact I give you is true. The jokes have nothing to do with it, but this is no joke. This is a simple fact. The simple fact is it gets the worst rating constantly. USA Today recently had a report on it. The Wall Street Journal had a report on it. There was reports dozens of times when they rate comparative bottled waters. And that one gets always the worst rating of all the bottled waters. First of all, who expected clean water from France? Why would the filthiest country in the world have the cleanest water? Well, let's be honest about it. They don't even bathe in France. Do you know, I'm not picking on them. It's a simple fact that they don't even believe in bathing. We ever in France, they never take a bath. Why do you think they have so much water to put in the bottles? They do not use water. That happens to be a fact. Do you understand? Why do you think they invented perfume? Because they stink. Everybody tells you the French people have their noses in the air. They can't breathe. They even talk like they can't breathe. Why do you think there's no crime in France? Because when a guy says, stick him up, a guy goes like this. I don't want to talk too much about the French. They're not worth the attention, these son of a bitches. These are the biggest cowards in the world. Did you hear about the French Navy? The French Navy is the only Navy in the world that has the bottom of the ships made in glass. You know why? So they could see their Air Force. Here's a good question. Here's a good question. Do you know that all over the world, they all know unanimously that the best wines in the world today are California wines? Have you people read about this? This wasn't true 20, 30 years ago. But now all the wine connoisseurs agree unanimously, for the first time in the last number of years, that the best wines in the world today are California wines. This is the great simple truth of the fact of the matter. And what do you think happens? How much could you get for a California wine? Tops, 80 cents. A French wine, $300, $9,000, $4 million. And even every place in America, nobody will drink a California wine if they want to make an impression. They want to take a girl out that they think is so sexy, and they want to take her to a fancy evening. They want to take her to a place where they sell French food and a French wine. And a French wine is a symbol of elegance. It's sexy. Your sex life depends on a French bottle of wine. They're not going to give up their sex life to prove a point. So before you know it, every Jew is ordering a French wine, and they don't know what the hell they're ordering. Do they know what the hell they're ordering? Do you know anybody who knows the difference between one wine and another? They wait for the samovar to come over. What do you call him? The sommelier, the guy with the tchotchkes hanging from the neck. He comes over, they wait for him to come over. I would like to have some wine. And he comes over, and he shows you, you can see the butter, the pétrole, the beurre. And all of a sudden, every Jew becomes a wine expert. There's nobody more full of shit than a Jewish wine expert. They start tasting and tasting. They don't know the difference between a mouthwash and a wine. And they always wind up saying the same thing. Perfect! He says, that was the water. You want to try the wine now? I don't want to make an issue out of it. Hi, is this whole show getting too complicated for this crowd? I hope I didn't insult anybody by anything I said, because I don't like insult comedy. Did you notice that? Well, I picked on Bush, and I picked on your man, but it's all in the spirit of fun. I happen to have the highest respect for both of them, and people find it hard to believe that I respect Bush too, because nobody knows what he does for a living. But the truth of the matter is this, that's right. They developed an airport security system in America, second to none. You might have good security here, but not like in America. In America, they have the best airport security ever developed anywhere in the world. As soon as you come into the airport, there's some yenta that says to you, did anybody handle your luggage? Now let me ask you a question. If the guy is a terrorist, what is he going to say? Yeah, how do you like that? Yeah, he's handling my luggage right now. You want to see him? Take a look. His name is Muhammad. Come here. What did he do? They call it airport security. It's the biggest joke in the history of the world. Who's standing by the conveyor belts? You ever go to America? You ever see you standing by the conveyor belts? You would think you would have anti-terrorist geniuses studying every place. You have 15-year-old kids from Honduras, and they're dancing. What do you got there? A bomb on the conveyor, All the bombs on the conveyor. You know, they study these conveyor belts. Objective newspapermen have studied these conveyor belts dozens of times. And they all came up with the same analysis, that weapons of every kind have gone through thousands of times. Every kind of weapon has gone through thousands of times at every one of these conveyor belts. They only catch you if you got one thing, a tweezer. A tweezer or a key. Tweezers and keys, that's all the fighting. Every time you're there, you see a yenta standing there, they took my tweezer. The only people who have tweezers now are the Puerto Rican girls who work at the airport. They have perfectly tweezed eyebrows. And all the Jewish women are so hairy nowadays. The truth of the matter is they'll never find the terrorist. You know why they'll never find the terrorist? Because they're more fearful of racially profiling anybody than anything else. The civil rights crusades are so intense in both of these countries that the greatest fear the airport security people have is to being accused of racially profiling anybody. So if a guy looks exactly like a terrorist, they say, shh, leave him alone. You leave him alone, don't bother him. But if a 90-year-old Jewish little lady comes in, in 2 minutes, 12 Indians are surrounding her, and they're pulling her apart. Stand here. And they're pulling her. Don't open your jacket. I'm trying my best. Wait. Pick up your foot. Wait. Take off your shoes. It took her a week and a half to put them on. Close. This system is worthless, let's be honest about it. First of all, it's worthless for another reason, because these conveyor belts only detect metal. That's why they have metal detectors. Do you people know that? And bombs are not made out of metal. They haven't been made out of metal for 20 years. But they're still looking for metal. That's why they keep finding tweezers and keys. They'll never find a bomb, never, unless it's attached to a key. You see, this can never happen on El Al Airlines. On El Al Airlines, they have the best security system in the world. I don't know if you heard about it. The best in the world. They have the best anti-terrorist geniuses studying every individual. They don't have 15-year-old kids there. And they know exactly how to locate any possible terrorist, because they do something nobody else does. I don't know if you heard about it. They make you take your clothes off before you get on the plane. People think I'm making this up. This is a simple fact. They know, I don't want to sound too graphic, but they know that a bomb could potentially be in any part of a person's body. That's why they study your whole body. I don't know if you heard about it. Up and down, they feel your whole body. Up and down for an hour and a half. That's right, I was never in Israel, but I'm at the airport day and night. I don't even put my clothes on in the morning. I put on a raincoat, I go right to the airport. I say, go ahead. Do whatever you want, it's up to you. That part I made up. You don't find that funny either, mister? You don't see nothing funny in this? That's all right, that's all right. You can't please everybody. I know that some people laugh, some people don't. You cannot please everybody. Let's be honest. Like I did a show in Israel a few weeks ago. Did you read about it? I was a sensation. 2 weeks later in Egypt, the same jokes. I don't want to pick on the Palestinians. It so happens the Palestinians are crazy about it. Do you know that people find out stunned when I tell them this, that they offered me a job in Palestine? Do you believe this? They offered me a job to perform in Palestine. They offered me $500,000. That's right. $500,000 plus funeral expenses. It was offered to me by Yasser Arafat. You ever hear of Yasser Arafat, the guy with the dish towel? This man is not only a terrorist, he's also a thief. I took a close look at the towel. It says Hilton. Did you hear what happened to Yasser Arafat lately? He was imprisoned by Sharon in his own compound, and he was stuck there in his own compound. And Sharon cut off everything, even the water. He couldn't take a shower, a shave, a bath for a month and a half. And he came out looking exactly the same. He picked on the wrong guy when he picked on Sharon. Sharon is the toughest cookie of them all. Sharon said something that I'll never forget. Did you hear his last speech? He's trying to make peace now. He's trying desperately to make peace. Everybody says how tough he is and how obnoxious he is. He happens to be the world's greatest peacemaker, and he's making every sacrifice to make peace. He wants to give them back the whole West Bank right now. Did you read about it? The whole West Bank. He'd like to. Right now he can't, because it's in his wife's name. But this man wants to make peace. He said something that I'll never forget. This will go down in history as one of the great speeches of all time. He said, "Die Trage, die Bodat, we did it. We Bodat, we give it, we did it. We did it, we did it. We could never translate it, was we give to the Araber, two son of a bitches, never give it." Huh? The Araber, they never give it that, was we did that. Otherwise, we, huh? And everybody said, the man is right. So what if he can't talk English? Most great men throughout history couldn't talk English. Everybody picks on Bush that he couldn't talk English. Why? Was Kissinger able to talk English? He was a Secretary of State. For 10 years, nobody ever heard a word he said. That's why they thought he was a genius. Nobody knew what he was talking about. Lekkere kakkere feffe. Efter remember kakkere le. You don't have to kakkere lekker. You have to remember the kakkere je, the lekkere le. Otherwise, the kakkere lekker, the papa the buck. This was a hit. You don't have to talk English to be a hit. A lot of people can't talk. Made us Alfred Hitchcock. I watched him on television for 20 years. I never heard a word he said. That's this week. Next week, and everybody said that makes sense to me. You know that Ted Kennedy is the most popular senator in the United States? He even ran for president. And to this day, nobody ever heard a word he said. Nobody. No matter what question you ask him, he comes up with the same answer. Yeah, bum bum be. Oh, I say, yeah, bum bum be. We can't have a country, yeah, bum bum be. People say that, oh, I said, boom. Oh, I never said that. Oh, I said, yeah, bum bum be. I don't want to pick on him. He happens to be a wonderful guy. He even offered to drive me over here. Luckily, I got out of the way in time. This show is getting better, but you're getting worse. I don't know how many Gentiles got into the front. How did Gentiles get into the front? I never saw this before. You know, I'm on Broadway 17 years, and I had to come here to find Gentiles in the front. Gentiles are never in the front of Broadway shows. Even in this town, I'll bet you there's very few Gentiles in the front of any show, because when a Gentile buys a ticket to a show, they don't care where it is. It's in the building, close enough, and they're But you can't sell just any ticket to a Jew. A Jew has to know exactly where is this seat. Go into the box office area of any show, you see Gentiles coming and going. They buy tickets by the thousands, and the same Jew is still negotiating. Exactly. Where is this seat? Every time you see Jews, they're around a chart. Let me see. Let me see. Where is this? And the second row, that's too far. I don't sit in the second row. I don't see. My husband don't hear. We don't see. We don't hear. Forget about the second row. Is there somebody in front of us? Oh, there is. How tall is this guy? And they always ask, which way is he facing? Is he facing this way? Because my neck doesn't go like this. And I have to have a seat on the aisle because this foot has to go like this. And my husband needs an aisle seat too because his foot has to go this way. We need two aisle seats next to each other. This one and another seat like this, and that's the only way. Everybody, you know, people like to say that Jews are aggressive. Let's be honest about it. Jews were always a persecuted minority, and if they weren't aggressive, they'd get nowhere in life. They were driven from everything, threatened everywhere, and then people are surprised that Jews are aggressive to compensate for the fact that they would get nowhere because they were never allowed into the mainstream of any economic system, either here or in America. And that's a simple fact. Nobody cares about this? That's a simple fact. You know the major corporations in America and even here never hire Jews. Never, until recently. They never hire Jews. Not that we cared, we owned the company. Why do you think Jews became doctors? The historical reason of why Jews became doctors is because they were persecuted every place. And they were always in fear of their very lives. And they knew that to avoid persecution, the best thing to do is to become a doctor. That's the only place they felt safe, is if they practiced medicine. They knew that if you're going to come to a doctor, let's be honest about it. Who's going to walk into a doctor's office and say, my foot hurts, you Jew bastard? But the truth of the matter is that even to this day, it's harder for a Jew to become a doctor than anybody from any denomination. In America, I don't know if it's true here, but in America to this day, a Jew needs a higher mark than anybody from any denomination to get into a medical school. Because affirmative action, there's a thing called affirmative action in the United States. It was just a big issue at the Supreme Court to give minorities, everybody except the Jews, special benefits to be able to come in with lower marks in the schools, to give them a leg up, because they were persecuted before. Because of that, a Jew is the only one left out. Only the Jews cannot get benefits of affirmative action. Right now, a Jew needs a 98.9 average to get into a medical school in America. That's a fact. 98. If you're Hispanic, 28, close enough. If you're black, 2, you're a doctor. People say they deserve to get in with a lower mark because they were persecuted before. But I say if they deserve to get in with a lower mark, a Jew should be able to play basketball with a lower net. That's right, every basketball coach, you have to have one net over here where the Jews could walk over. This is for the Jews, and that's it. You understand this? First of all, the Jews would make the best basketball players, the best, because we wouldn't have to get a ball exactly into the rim, around the rim, would be good enough. And it would be a much nicer sport if the Jews were doing it. They wouldn't be running and running like the Goyim. The Jews would go for a walk with the ball, and they wouldn't start a fight every minute. Who got a ball? You got a ball? Good luck to you. Gentiles are stupid. They have one ball for 5 people, so a fight breaks out every minute. The Jews would give each guy a ball. You got a ball? Thank God. I don't know if anybody's going to buy that story. It's hard to convince people that there's a Jewish athlete. Where's a Jewish athlete? You ever see a Jewish athlete? You shouldn't generalize. But there's no such thing as a Jewish athlete. But Jews get mad when I say this. What do you mean? They were certainly Jewish. I say, who? The only thing they could think of is Mark Spitz. Mark Spitz. 40 years ago. Swam once, got nauseous. You never heard from him. Jews don't do exercise even when they go to a gym. You ever go into a gym? The Gentiles are busy, jumping, schwitzing, flying on all the machines. And all the Jews are on the phone. Hello, Irving. The only thing they have is exercise rooms. It's the biggest status symbol to say, oh, I got some exercise room. You ever see a Jewish exercise room? You see 40 machines and clothes are hanging on all the machines. This machine is for jackets, this one is for shirts, this one is for ties. They're building special machines now just for Jews with hangers already attached. Not that I want to generalize. I don't like to generalize about people. But you could bet your life that this whole group in the front is jealous. It's killing them that I'm such a hit. That's why they're not laughing. It's killing them. Gentiles get jealous too, but not as much as the Jews. Bill Gates is a perfect example. Do you think more people are happy for Bill Gates or nauseous? People say, I wish you the best, but when you do that good, oh yeah, brach. Do you think people are happy for Bill Gates? I'm going to stay here till we figure this out. Maybe the Gentiles are a little happy. The Jews are furious. Because the Gentiles don't compete with him. Jews are all competing with Bill Gates. They spend all the time wondering, how much did he make today? Another billion, son of a bitch. Another billion. Boy, that Nazi bastard. Jews are counting his money day and night. He doesn't even need an accountant. He could call up any Jew. And tell him to the penny. Why do you think Gentiles say he's a genius? Gentiles all tell you, $100 billion, this guy must be a genius. I can't find one Jew that says that. Every Jew says the same thing to me. He got lucky. You think he knew what he was doing? He bumped into computers, so he made money. If I bumped into a computer, I'd make the same money. You think I got time to hang around with computers? I'm busy, I sell shirts. Gentiles can't even imagine that much money. $100 billion is an inconceivable number to them. I can't find one Jew that's impressed with it. They all tell me the same thing, 100 billion. So what? What's 100 billion? You think it's a lot of money today? Years ago, it was a lot of money. Not today. How long is it going to last? 2, 3, 400 years? It's not to get it. The truth of the matter is, the man is a genius. He revolutionized the whole world. He created a whole new industrial revolution. Because of him, everybody is emailing. You ask a millionaire to type. Would he type? Say, schmuck. What do you mean, type? You know who I am? But tell him this is email. Oh, email? McClup does it. Tell him, schmuck, you can make a call. Not me. I email. They email for 22 hours at a time, then they call each other up. Hello, did you get my email? I don't want to pick on people. It sounds like I'm picking on people. I only say a kind word to people because if I'm off the stage, I never said an insulting remark to anybody in my life. People who have to insult you to be funny, or people who have to be insulting you in general anywhere, are very sick. People who are compassionate spend their whole life expressing compassion and lying to you about how good you look. Most people don't look so hot, but every time you meet somebody, if you have any compassion, you say, boy, are you looking good? Most people don't look so good. They look so hot. But you want to make a person feel good, so you say, are you looking good? That's what you say. 2 women walk in the street and bump into another woman. What do they say? Whatever is necessary to make her feel good. Boy, are you looking good, they tell her. Boy, take a look. Is she looking good? You ever see anybody look this good? Look how slim she looks. I mean, for a fat person, doesn't she look... Doesn't she look slim? Look how slim she looks. And look how tall. Doesn't she look tall for a short person? I can't get over how tall she looks. Tall and slim for a short, fat person. I can't believe it. And look how young. Does she look young? Take a look. Young, like for an older person. Do you look young? You're the youngest looking short, fat, older person. I never saw her. Then the other yenta pops out. What do you mean short? She was never short or fat. You're young and beautiful, and you always were, and you look more beautiful now than you ever was. I can't believe how beautiful you are. I can't believe. As soon as they walk away, what happened to her? Oh my God, I thought she'd pass away right in front of me. What happened? But this is what decent people do. They lie to you to make you feel good. The more compassionate person, the bigger the liar. By the time you're the nicest person, you're lying every time you say hello. Let's assume you go to a wedding and you bump into the bride. And she's all dressed up with the paraphernalia and all the schmatters and the tchotchkes. And she's heading for the altar. She happens to bump into you and she says, well, how do I look? Now, what are you going to say? I don't know. I don't know. I've seen better looking people. I can't lie. You know who would say that? An idiot. A sick sadist would say that. A decent person would tell her, you're the most beautiful bride that ever lived. That's what they would tell her. They wouldn't say, well, white, not your color. That's what they tell her. You understand this? Or a grandfather shows you a picture of a grandchild. That happens sooner or later to everybody, where a grandfather really thinks you want to see a picture of his grandchild. They can't get over the idea that maybe it's none of your chazash business and you don't care. But every grandfather, sooner or later, will take out a picture and say, take a look, this is my grandchild. Now, what are you going to say? Looks like a monkey? So you start hollering, oh, yeah, Klug, this is the most beautiful grandchild. This is a grandchild. Never in my life as if you want to see it. Who the hell wants to see it? You could be the nicest person that ever lived. Do you want to see the picture of a kid? Do you want to see it? Answer the question. You got an 18-year-old daughter? Let's see the picture. I'll ask you a better question. How come a grandchild never shows you a picture of a grandfather? You ever think of that? This kid wouldn't even be here if not for the grandfather. I never saw a kid walking around with a grandfather's picture. A kid ever come over to you, take a look, here's my grandfather. Take a look, you ever see a grandfather like this? Here he is putting his teeth in a glass. Here he is taking them out of the glass. Here he's going to the toilet, he's almost gone, he's coming out, he came back. You don't hear it. The truth is, this teaches a great moral lesson. To keep lying to anybody you see, especially to your wife. Never tell your wife the truth about anything. And I say this with the highest respect. She deserves the truth, but don't tell her anything if it's going to hurt her feelings, no matter how much she tells you that she wants to hear the truth, because nobody wants to hear the truth. If your wife says to you, do I look fat? Sooner or later, in every marriage, there's going to come a time where the wife is going to say to the husband, be honest with me. Do I look fat? You better buy a bulletproof vest before you tell her. And they always ask you, like they're dying to know, please, you're not going to help me by lying to me. I have to know the truth. It does not help me if you lie. If other people lie, I don't care, but you're my husband. You owe it to me to be honest. Do I look fat? So you say to yourself, well, I'll take a chance. They say, well, as long as you must know, I think you do look a little... I look fat? Pooh, you son of a bitch. You got the right to talk about fat. Did you ever see what you look like? I see trucks look half your size. And come to think of it, your mother is no bargain either, you nutsy. Now you feel bad, you want to apologize, but no matter how you try, it's too late. You can't apologize, no matter what you say. Listen, I didn't mean exactly fat, you got the wrong impression. I meant you look a little short for your weight, that's all. Don't tell me you said I look fat, it's my own fault. I was standing right next to you. From here you look fat, but I notice if you go back a little, the further you go, the slimmer you look, I notice. If you go to Philadelphia, you could look so slim. Any of you hear about Siegfried and Roy? The most popular show in Las Vegas is a show called Siegfried and Roy. Two Fegelach and a tiger, and that's the whole show. Any of you see that show? Two Fegelach and a tiger. That's it. They do nothing else. They just come out. Is there a Fegelach here? Then the other Fegelach comes out. Did you see the tiger? There was a tiger here. Then the tiger comes out. He's also a Fegelach. There's that Irish show. Is that Irish show legitimate? What do you call that? What, 87 Irishmen dancing? What do you call that? The Lord of the Dance? What is the name of that show? Riverdance. Riverdance. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm making fun of anybody. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that should be called a show? Riverdance? Forget that I'm trying to be funny. Let's ask your honest opinion. Should that be a show? 87 Irishmen are doing one step a whole night. That's it. Did you see that show? This is it. McClup does it. McClup. That's the first half an hour. The second half an hour, McClup weiter. The second hour, they turn around and they do it this way. That's the whole show. That's the whole show. I just gave it here for nothing. That's it. But everybody says, oh my God, they came from Ireland. Who gives a fuck if you came from Ireland? What if it was 7 Jews from Pittsburgh? Does that make it a show? Son of a bitches. But it's the biggest hit on Broadway. It's the biggest hit everywhere. Because people cannot believe that Irish people could stand up a whole night. They can't. Titanic is also a big hit. I'm not going to make fun of the movie. Titanic was a colossal, brilliant movie. I'm not stupid enough to make fun of the movie. But this was also a musical. I don't know if it was a musical here. Was it a musical here too? It was a musical on Broadway. Titanic. Titanic was a musical. Is this hard to believe? 3,000 people drowned. How sick could you be to think of music of it? If God forbid somebody drowned, would you say, no kidding, I got a good song for that? If somebody said to you, my uncle died, is that right? And did you see that show? It was all happy dancers. Happy dancers. They drown, they drown. They drowned today. They drowned yesterday. How did they drown? The water, the water. How high was the water? Nazi bastards. I don't mean to make fun of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is over. It was over 10 minutes ago. I was ashamed to tell you. This was a phenomenal experience, and I want to thank you all for just being here. Because the truth of the matter is, you do me a lot of good by showing up, besides the fact that there's money involved. This is a great tribute to me personally, and I was trying to make fun of it, but I'm more than stunned and amazed that I'm in this position in show business, that I've achieved that kind of a prominence that I could wind up in this building. This is a stunning, unbelievable achievement to me, and I'm very grateful to every one of you. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to tell you, I want to thank each one of you personally. I wish I had the time to thank each one of you personally. You know, it sounds corny to some people, but you do a lot for me just by being here, and you deserve my thanks. I wish I had the time to thank each one of you personally for being here. Unfortunately, I'm such a big star now, I got no time to talk to you. Because you deserve my thanks, because I appreciate it. I'm not like some performers who at the end of a show tell you how much they appreciate. I don't believe a word of it. But I'm an honest person. The reason I'm honest is because I suffered a lot to get where I am today. I had 30 years of the deadest career probably of anybody in the history of show business. For 30 years I literally couldn't make a living. I'm not toiling just so to ask you for compassion. I don't deserve compassion. I'm just asking for an extra few dollars from each person. This was a stunning thing that I'm here, and it's a stunning thing for you to see me. And I just want to say a very heartfelt thank you. And now the show is legitimately over. The show now is really over. This is the first time that it's really over. I just didn't leave yet, but it's over. Well, who says I have to go first? Who says I have to go? I never understood that. Every time the show is over, the performer runs and runs. I'm not that busy. So happens when the show is over this way, I like to stand for a couple hours, and that's it. You want to watch a Jew standing, it's up to you. Good night.